Okay, so we are also live on the YouTube as well. Okay, we are ready to go. All right. Thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate you spending your Saturday with us. And this is our sixth webinar in this EB-5 visa series in 2026. And I have Chuck back being a usual presenter today. And we have Mahavir, and then we also have Yukti Jain and myself, Raghuram from Happy Schools. Chuck, Yukti, and Mahavir are part of Growth Axle, who is sponsoring this webinar to promote their new EB-5 project. So the goal of this webinar is to educate you about EB-5 process, the timelines, and why EB-5 is a good option for certain category of families and individuals and investors, and why it may not be a good option for certain individuals. So we are here to answer any follow-up questions that you may had from the previous sessions, or if you're joining us for the very first time, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have about EB-5 visa process. Chuck, Yukti, and Mahavir, welcome back. How are you all doing?
Very good, Raghu. Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Chuck, you can get started, Chuck. Yep.
Sure. Thank you, Raghu. And first of all, Raghu, I have to say we appreciate you getting us on this platform. We know how selective you are and how constrained in what you usually allow on this platform. So we certainly don't take it for granted, and we'll definitely, make sure it's worthy, that of us being here. So we really appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining this confidential investor discussion that we are having here. Even though we will talk generally about EB-5, very generally, as well as anything specific to this project. That's our project. I'm Chuck Kakani, and I'm joined here by my co-board member. I'm one of the board members of this project, New 3S, and Mahavir Jain is also another board member here. And Yukti works for our organization, and she is also here. So that's where we are. Now, I will repeat this throughout the presentation. New3S is already built and about to open the doors in 2-3 weeks. So this is not a concept project. This is execution ready. And we are discussing an operational business, not an empty plot of land. So I just want to say that up front. So next one, Raghu, please.
So could you tell what do you mean by it's an operational business, Chuck? Let's get started from that part.
Sure. When we say it's operational business, this is different from many typical projects that you see in EB-5, which are real estate projects. And operational business is one that has continuous operations, employees, and predictable revenues that continue. Generally, in EB-5, Raghu, as you know, projects are raising money for real estate. So you can have the jobs come from construction. It's very short span where you have EB-5 requirements being fulfilled. And in contrast, what we have in U3s is a business that continues to operate and has amazing job creation potential. And that's the main point of difference in an operational business.
Okay, got it. So for today's session, I want to start with what is an EB-5, and then we will go to discuss about the project as such. So let's give an intro to the audience who probably will not have heard about what is an EB-5 visa, how does it work. So let's start from that one, Chuck.
Sure. The EB-5 business visa, investor visa program was created in 1990 by Act of Congress. So it is a legitimate, meaning lawful program, the only lawful investor program to get a green card permanent residency in the United States. So because it's approved and authorized by Congress, and it's got a very good uplift in 2022 through what is called the Reform and Integrity Act, RIA 2022. So it happens to be a premier program where investors can put in $800,000 or $1,050,000, depending on the category, and create into a project that can create 10 US jobs, and they will get a green card. subject to certain conditions, of course. So that is the program. And the important point is a 10 full-time US jobs that each investor tranche or the bucket of $800,000, let's say, should create. So that's in essence a permanent residency program, and it's an attractive option now, considering a lot of other things going on in the employment category. By the way, you must be familiar with EB-1, EB-2, EB-3. Even though this says EB-5, this is not an employment category. It is plugged in as, but it's an investor category of green card. So where you put in the money, which has nothing to do with your employment. It is sponsored. The I-526 petition is self-sponsored by the investor, and there's no labor certification step. So it's like equivalent to I-140. So you directly file the I-526 investor petition for the green card.
Okay, so let me see if I got it right. If somebody is filing an EB-5, they are going to invest money, and that money is going to be going to a project, and that project has to create 10 full-time jobs at least, and the US government will verify that the money they invested helped in job creation. And the benefit of that investment is that the US government is giving the investor green card for them and the family.
Yes, in essence, that is correct, Raghu. Of course, there is a couple of, and when we come to the EB-5 slides, we can go through the actual steps and the names of each steps, right?
Okay. All right. So let's touch upon, let's go back to the very first slide. We'll start from the new 5 project. Okay. New 3S.
Yes.
Disclaimer, please.
Yeah. And this is a disclaimer, of course. This is the standard investment disclaimer. You will review it. But today we are focusing on a real operating business that is a couple of weeks away from actually opening the doors. So that's the main point.
Okay.
So going to this, glad that you pulled this up, Raghu. So New 3's concept originally was supposed to be 3 business units, functions, but now it's 4, but we'll still call it New 3's because we like the name and it's a good brand. So for the very first time, we are launching a market cafe, a very upscale market cafe, by the way. Think of Starbucks and better, right? The environment inside. A market cafe, we are launching a car wash attached to that, and an express auto service. And we also have EV charging. That's the 4th one we added. So the market cafe, car wash, and the auto care, 3 units. And so it's EV charging 4. So it's 4 functional business units under one roof. So that most people have car washes, they have cafes, but imagine the combination of these 4. So we are launching our pilot project in Jamaica, New York, which is 1.5 miles away from John F. Kennedy Airport, one of the most busiest intersections. So it's an urban, no, it's a super urban area, right? Which has direct impact on the revenue. And this isn't a plan, it is opening in a couple of weeks. So it's a groundbreaking consumer brand that revolutionizes convenience. It's taking 3 or 4 essential proven business models and bringing them under one roof. And it's a strategic pilot location. We plan to have more. And we plan to launch more locations in New York and Texas, where we are from, with proven operating teams that we have.
Okay. So to tie it back to what is an EB-5, so New 3S is one of an EB-5 project. So the investor will be investing money in this New 3S project, which will be creating minimum 10 full-time jobs and which will result in the investor getting permanent residency.
Yes, and Raghu, 10 full-time jobs per investor amount. That means each investor, $800,000 should create 10 jobs. We are seeking 7 investors in this project. So that means 70 jobs, right?
Okay, got it. Let's go to the next one.
Yes.
Overview of New 3S business.
Yes. So to continue from where I was, these ingredients here inside New 3's is not speculative. They're proven businesses, right? So it's tested, of course. And we have designed from our experience and built automation into this model. A lot of software and IT stuff behind. And so we are first to market this one-of-a-kind, beautifully designed, comprehensive 4 business units under one kind of brand. And we become the irresistible stop for neighborhood residents and transit traffic going through it. And think of it like a Buc-ee's, if you're familiar with the Buc-ee's brand in Texas, right? So that's what it is. It is the cleanest, huge, expansive, spacious, and very, very well run and beautiful place to bring in.
Okay.
So, Raghu, uh, I see you're on leadership profile already. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sure. So tell us about your background. So yourself, Chuck and Mahavir are here, and who is Open and who is KK, and how are all the four members involved in this project?
Yes. So this is a business with very experienced management team and a board. So you see two board members here, myself, Chet Kakani, and my co-board member, Mr. Mahavir Jain. So, and there are two other board members. Krishna Garimella, KK, is an entrepreneur with vast experience, 25 plus years experience, just like myself, being an entrepreneur. And Mahavir, of course, is a financial pro forma expert and has vast experience in real estate projects and several other projects before. And our chairman of the board is Mr. Upen Varanasi, who is an entrepreneur with a very, very successful exit. And he's the chairman of the board. And he's from IIT Madras. And all of us have master's degrees in engineering, mostly. So that's a little bit about our board. So one thing I want to say is this board has seen $1 billion in exits cumulatively. So this is not a green board. This is vastly experienced board. I'm talking not just myself, but my three other board members who I'm very proud of to be part of this. So multiple board members, two of us, have actually experience with EB-5 projects, myself and Krishna Garimella before this. So we are not learning on your capital. This is a board with deep experience in investor capital, in execution, in entrepreneurship. That's the main point, more than academic credentials, which many people have, Raghu. I want to bring that point here to the
Okay.
ground. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about Jamaica, New York, the location where the project is located.
Yes, and we have chosen an amazing position, roughly about 3 miles from JFK Airport, with 18,000 cars per day transit. Think of it like Las Vegas Strip, but built for business, right? And which is on 24 hours. This is a great location, by the way. We already opened two shifts from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. When we open, we're opening with two shifts. And we believe there is enough demand to get a third shift and run this 24 hours. Because if you have been to New York City, the Long Island area, the area between JFK and LaGuardia Airport is one of the busiest throughways in the country. So that's what it is. So one of the things we want to bring here is this is prime spot, right? And that's why I call it super urban. And we have this is the first location in this kind of busy area with clean restrooms, huge space to sit down, 80 people seating in our cafe, parking, valet available, so people can check in the car with a valet. The car is taken to car wash. They can hang out with their family in the market cafe, spend more money, of course, into this project. And they can also get express car auto service, meaning oil change, and down the road inspection, state inspections, and tire wheel alignment, and which are very lucrative lines of business. So, and we have one of the best things about this is we have very experienced consumer friendly staff. In fact, we have brought in a couple of experts who have run such businesses, hundreds of units in the Middle East, in Qatar and Dubai and all. And we have brought them into New York as our managers. You will hear Marvelisa Dydale. If you go to the location, you will see her there. And she's the one who ran several stores like this, hundreds of stores like this in Qatar, Dubai, and all over Middle East. So, and they're known for their consumer-friendly stuff. So you see the pictures here in our flagship location. By the way, these pictures don't do justice at all, Raghu. These are earlier pictures. Now the site is absolutely about to open the doors. So it's looking probably 10x better than this. Okay. So, and we are Bucky's wins. Okay, I talk about Bucky's right when you bring in because it's clean, bright, unusually well run. New Threes is built with the same standard: cleanliness, order, service, and business. 4 units under one roof, so there's cross buying, right? And this is what operational maturity looks like. And compared to this, Raghu, and everyone, the most of our competitors along that strip is so many people. Okay, so many of these car washes. But if you ever go into one, they're like really badly run. They're mom and pop operations, but they're running business like crazy. They are not well kept. You'll see it's like dumpster. Okay. And so when you enter a location like this, that is an amazing cafe and beautifully run with uniformed staff and everything. By the way, uniform is different for all the three units. It is such a it's like oasis in the desert. We know there's demand, and we have exceedingly high demand in this place from our market research and everything what the economists tell us. So, and by the way, the consumers, our competitors don't have the IT integration like what we have, the enterprise maturity because we are an institutional grade enterprise team, right? So it's not mom and pop team. And obviously they're using older technologies. It's fragmented. We are combining all these business units under one roof. And we have an amazing operational mature team, operationally ready team. So that's the difference, Raghu, between new threes and the competition. So hands down by factor of 100x in the entire area, we will win the business.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
What's the growth strategy and what's the plan for 2026 and going forward?
Yes. So one of the things we want to bring out is this is not a standalone project. This Jamaica project is our flagship. So because then we can prove it at scale with excellence down the road. So Q1 2026, as you know, in a couple of weeks, we are opening doors for the first project. And in the fourth quarter, we plan to expand this to two more locations. And in next year, 2027, phase three, Q2, we want to expand five locations at least and take this to Texas and other places in New York. So we believe this is a brand that is going to be very, very successful. It's a franchisable brand down the road. So a institutional grade team like that, like us, does not get in to run one shop, one unit like this. When we got into this and we saw an amazing potential here, we saw scale, we saw expansion all over United States and Canada. Actually, we saw an ability to make a consumer brand that sticks out and that can be franchisable down the road and be worth a few $100 million to several $1 billion. That's our vision for this.
Okay. So how does EB-5 fit into this new 3 years project pipeline?
Yes. And one of the things I want to bring out here is this is not an EB-5 alone or EB-5 primary project. That's the important part because many a time when people offer EB-5 offerings, especially the smaller ones, they might be banking on EB-5 alone. For us, EB-5 is one of the components of our capital stack. For instance, today we already invested $10.5 million into this project, right? Out of which $7.5 million is founder-led money, which is preferred debt loan. We have structured it as a loan model to the project, right? So what EB-5 does for us is to replace 5.4 million out of that with EB-5. So it reduces the cost of capital for the project because the preferred debt that we have raised, mostly from ourselves and other few select investors that we have allowed them to participate in this preferred debt program, comes with a very high interest rate. What EB-5 does for this project, Raghu, is it replaces that bridge loan or temporary loan that we gave the project with EB-5 money, which comes at much lower interest. So the project has financial viability, which expands and boosts the profitability of the project in the capital stack when we exit, whether we show this as a flagship store or we exit this and sell this at a few multiples of what we put in, or we combine it, run it very well as a test location and keep it as a pilot location because it's very, very profitable.
Okay. And what is an urban plus TEA? What does it mean?
Yes. Now, EB-5, after the RIA, Research and Integrity Act, Reform and Integrity Act, sorry, not Research, Reform and Integrity Act of 2022, EB-5 goes into two buckets mainly. One is rural, which gets a very high priority, and one is urban, which is lower priority. So now, along with rural, urban, which is a target employment area, if that urban location happens to be in an area what is called target employment area where unemployment is a little higher than national average, right? That area, that zip code or that location will be deemed a target employment area. So the EB-5 rules say that now any project that is in an urban area, if that area is also a TEA, is same priority as rural. So urban plus TEA is tremendous advantage. And why is rural projects incentivized to give high priority in the EB-5 queue, right? By the government, by Congress, when they made this. It's because they want to motivate employment in rural areas, isn't it? And that's why. But what's the problem with rural? The problem is lower density of population, isn't it? That's why it's rural. So lower density means lower revenue potential into the project, which means lower jobs creation. So that is why it's incentivized. So you're taking a risk, even though people say, oh, rural project, $800,000, right? By the way, the money is also lower for rural projects. It's 800,000 versus urban projects, which is 1,050,000, right? That people need to invest. But people are attracted to rural because of prioritization. For instance, India, where many people will be there from, is now current, but for everything. But it might change, and urban might not be current very soon, in a month actually, right? The next visa bulletin. So, but when we say urban plus TEA, it's equal to rural. That means we get the same priority, but you have the advantage of an urban, super urban project like this, which has a very, very high revenue potential. That's the difference, Raghu.
Okay, got it. I think I stopped sharing for a second. Let me go back. There it is. All right. And then what about job creation? It is mentioned
Yes.
as guaranteed job creation. What does it mean?
Yes, what it means is when you have a project that brings in high revenue, the way USCIS, Investor Program Office, adjudicates EB-5 viability of projects is, they look at a business plan, right? The business plan needs to have enough evidence supported revenue projections, right? And those revenue projections are tied directly to job creation. That means a project that can produce very high revenue, that can bring in those dollars into the project, can create jobs. They link the revenue projection to job creation. Why? Because most EB-5 projects are for future, right? You're raising the money on an empty plot of land. So you don't have jobs to show yet, right? Except construction going on. And there are construction accrued jobs, related jobs. But so how do you convince the USCIS to adjudicate in your favor, to approve this project or approve your investor petition? So they bank on revenue projections. Revenue projections is equal to job creation. So what's the problem there? Rural projects have lesser potential of revenue. That's why they're incentivized. But urban projects, which are TEA, you're getting same benefit as rural, 800,000, not 1,050,000, right? The investment. But you also have tremendous super urban projects like ours, which are sitting in one of the busiest areas in the country, have tremendous advantage. And you'll see very soon when you go to the revenue projections, and that is directly related to job creation. So the code is higher the revenue, the more job creation. And job creation is essential for approval of investor petition. And mind you, in our case, it's not a fantasy in the future projected job creation, even though we show that in the business plan. It's a real operating business, opening doors in 2 weeks, creating jobs. We already have jobs created, by the way. That's the best part. And it's got tremendous potential of jobs. Probably, in my opinion, even though we don't say that, there is a lot of buffer even now. But even over that buffer, we might probably create 2-3 times more jobs. We can actually raise 20 to 30 investors we can ask for with this. But we're asking only for 7, and we have ample job creation here.
Okay, fantastic. And what does this map represent, Chuck?
Yes. So this is one of the consulting companies. I think the principals of this company used to work for USCIS, to the best of my knowledge. Don't quote me on that. But this is accepted company for USCIS. When they give out a report after research, that's a target employment area. The red zone there is where we sit, and that is a target employment area. So this is the letter that we submit as a proof, evidentiary proof, of target employment area. So we fulfill urban, New York City, Jamaica, and we are in a target employment area. That makes it equal to rural. That makes it get the high priority. That also makes you, the investor, invest only $800,000 and not $1,050,000.
Okay. And What does job creation direct mean here?
Yes. Direct job creation, by the way, most people only know direct, right? When they see direct job creation means how many people we hire in this project. Okay. And if you see the numbers there, this project is divided into two parts. JCE1, by the way, job creating entity. That is the language that all the EB-5 projects have to use. There is a NCE where you invest the money. That's called new commercial enterprise. And there is a JCE, which is the job creation enterprise. For logistics sake, we kept it as two separate JCEs. JCE1 comprises of market cafe, car wash, and EV charging. JCE2 comprises of auto care, express auto care, right? So the NCE, which is the new commercial enterprise where the EB-5 investor come in, loans the money to JCE1 and JCE2. So our JCE1, market cafe, car wash, and EV charging, creates 36 jobs. In my proper estimate, this is extremely conservative. We might end up three times more jobs than this. And the auto care, the JC2 Express Auto Service, that is creating 18 jobs. So what is that? That is about 52 jobs, right? 36 plus 18. So those are called direct jobs where we give W2s, Raghu. And so we ensure that we meet and exceed EB-5. So you might have a question. So your 52 jobs you're showing, how come you're asking for 7 investors, which is 70 jobs, right? Okay. So there is a model called RIMS2 model. This is the accepted model. There's a couple of other models, but RIMS2 is the most popular one that economists use. So when we pay people, when this project is built, there are jobs that comes from construction, right? That has nothing to do with the operational business. There are jobs we are hiring, the 52 years so direct. Okay. And then there are jobs that are created as a multiplier effects in the economy. Meaning, when we pay our employees, they take that money, right? They buy gas, they go to grocery store and they purchase something there. Thereby, grocery store is creating some jobs, right? This is getting revenue. Revenue is related to jobs, remember, in any business, right? So they're creating jobs. Those employees that are getting paid from the grocery store, they go out and buy something, you know, somewhere bread, they go to bakery maybe, and they buy bread. They create jobs. So it trickles down, it lessens and lessens as the money percolates and spreads in the economy. So this is the standard economic models that USCIS accepts. So when we take direct jobs, we have multiplier on direct jobs to show the total number of jobs that are EB-5 qualified. Right? By the way, the rule under RIA is only 10% of the jobs we're claiming should be direct jobs. When we're asking for 7 investors, 70 jobs, 10% of 70 jobs is 7 jobs. Okay? They have to be direct. Rest of the 90% can be coming from multiplier effects. That is a rule. Okay? But in our case, 52 jobs, you know what? Not 10%. It's almost like 70% of the jobs are coming from direct jobs. And then you add the multiplier effects. So the RIMS2 multiplier, these are done by economists, and only certain economists are trusted by USCIS, right? So that they can accept this as a proper report, economist report. And the economists are very objective. So when you add direct jobs, indirect and induced jobs, they're called. When you total it out, we come to a total of 140 EB-5 qualified jobs, right? So which is sufficient buffer for 7 investors. So that
Okay.
is what it is.
Okay. And so let's now switch gears into an overview of an EB-5 process.
Yes. So this is a specific area that we want to talk about. So when we do what is called investor pre-screening, right? We don't do it. Your attorney team should tell us. So first of all, it's a complete investor questionnaire. You sign the investor documents and you prepare your source of funds. It's called SOF. So your attorney, we have certain recommendations of legal team, but the attorneys will usually take you to the source of funds. That means your money you're bringing in is legally acquired, lawful money. You must have heard of things like Hawala or black money. USAS is definitely sensitive and aware of that. So there's a sourced money, which means the documentation has to be good for the money that you bring in into the project. So that takes a couple of weeks time to acquire all the documents that this is legally procured money. And so only we accept investor funds after the attorney gives a green signal. Okay, these people are good to go, right? Source of funds is finished. And otherwise, we don't want to accept the monies coming from, we don't want to accept such investor with a question mark on source of funds. So then you move to the investor stage, and this is where you file I-526 petition, the green card petition. And so an investor capital is released after you get the receipt of the I-526, right? So that's released into the project. And these are all, by the way, approximate timelines. No one knows. It varies from time to time. Investor receives, say, a couple of years down the road. This is your green card approval. This means this is your I-140 approval, right? But as you know, many of you know, that is not the end of the story. Many people will be sitting with 140 approved probably in their EB-1, EB-2, EB-3. That doesn't mean anything. Your visa has to be available. That's the problem, right? Because of country quotas. And there is no country quotas in EB-5. Okay, that's the best part. And so it is only the rural and urban categorization. So then you apply, if you go back, Raghu, to this, oh, you pulled it up. Raghu, can we go back to that slide once?
Sure. Give me
I
one
just
second.
finished that. And when we finish the I-526 approved, your petition is approved, and you get a green card. And that, by the way, you need to apply for 485, obviously, right? Adjustment of status. So you can right away apply what is called concurrent filing, because the status is current right now for India and all countries, right? You can, as you file the 526, you can file 485, and you can file for the employment authorization and travel document, which is called advanced parole, right? So concurrent application is possible. That means as soon as you, along with the 526 petition, you file for a EAD, let's say 6 months, 3 months, the EAD comes back. That means you're free now. That means you have an EAD based on your investor petition, which means that you're free from any employment. You're free as long as, and you can actually go get a job anywhere, right? And because you are now a self-petition EB-5 investor with EAD approved. So that's one thing. But when that is approved, right away, because we file concurrent, there is no more EB-5 485 filing, right? It's concurrent filing. For most people, they can do concurrent. And so 485 is picked up right away, and it's processed, and you get the green card. You get a temporary green card. What it means is you have 2-year green card. So why 2 years? Because usually, remember, EB-5 projects are for jobs in the future, hole in the ground. Unlike us, okay, we are operational from day one. So they give time for the project to create the jobs, believe it or not, like 2 years. After you get your green card, we have the time to prove that jobs are created. Okay, in our case, not necessary. While you're within your 526 process, our jobs are already done, right? Probably. And so right from day one. So we file what is called I-829 to remove the conditions from your green card, right? The 820, that's conditional removal. That might take a couple of years to 4 years to process that processing of this, and you get your conditions removed. Then that becomes a permanent green card, and then your capital is returned. So that is the $800,000 you put in, along with the interest we pay. We're paying 1.5% interest, so which is $12,000 a year. So let's say you plan for 5 to 7 years. Let's say 5 years. So 5 years is $12,000 times 560,000 of interest, $800,000 of your principal amount that you originally put in. $860,000 is returned back to you at that point in time when your conditions are removed. Why is that? Not because we want to hold on to your money. The law says your capital, $800,000, has to be at risk till the very end into the project, till your conditions are removed from your conditional green card, and your green card becomes a permanent green card. It is not us holding your money. Your money by law has to be in the project till the very last step and has to be at risk. It's called at-risk capital, right? So that's why you plan for 5 to 7 years of your money being in the project. Yeah, Raghu. And by the way, this is a little bit more nuanced.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing, but it's a little bit more nuanced version of the previous timeline.
More detailed. And I want to add, Raghu, here there's a project documents. Now under the new RIA, we can apply for pre-approval of this project, which is called 956F. We filed our 956F on October 9th. Generally, the processing time is about 6 months to 8 months. Or it varies every time you check the USA's website. So that is, we file for exemplar petition, which means the exemplar approved project by USCIS. So we are expecting to get back our 956F approval in a couple of months. And so that is parallel, by the way. You don't have to wait for the project pre-approval to file your 526E. You can go in parallel. So when your funds are finished with source of funds review from the attorneys, we can file the 526, 485, EAD, and advance payroll concurrently and not wait for 956F approval. So then adjustment of status, as you know. By the way, EB-5 gives you the green cards for the entire family. So, which means that a wife and husband, say 4 children, I'm just using example, 5 kids under 18, not in the age out conditions, you'll get 5 kids and
21, right, Chuck? It's 21. This listener is
21, sorry,
21.
yes, 21. That too, by the way, there's a clock stop and start for age out. Your attorneys can explain to you what it means. There's an age out clock. It's not 21 biological age. It can stop and start again. And so that is, I don't want to get into that because I'm not an attorney, but your attorneys will tell you if there is such thing and how it applies to your situation. But the point is, both the spouses, if you're married, and all the children under the age of 21 will be getting the green cards in this program. And then, of course, conditional residence, 2-year conditional green card, and then filing the 829 petition to remove conditions at the end of 2 years. 90 days before your 2 years ends, we can file for applying for the removal of green card, removal of conditions on your green card, temporary green card, then it becomes permanent. So this slide is a little bit more detailed and the same as the slide before, the EB-5 process. Yes, and Raghu, this is the 956F receipt notice. Yes, Raghu, thanks for highlighting that. By the way, it's not cheap to do EB-5. The attorney fees itself for project documentation and everything, and the petitioner fees, we have to pay this, right? And thankfully the total balance zero. So when we file this from the project side, we need to pay $47,000 filing fee to the USCIS to file for the 956F petition. So the 956F form. Just want to highlight that October 9th was our filing date for 956F.
Okay. And what's the ownership structure? Could you walk
Yes.
the audience through this?
Yes. Now, as you know, the EB-5, any EB-5 program, you come in, and this is what is called a direct, it's a loan model, right? This is a regional center sponsored model. So there is another model called direct model, which we won't discuss here. Our model is a regional center sponsored. A regional center is few hundred entities, companies in the United States are approved regional centers by USCIS. You can find a list of the regional centers in the USCIS website. Okay. So, and by the way, only these companies can be regional centers, and they have to go through a lot of documentation approval process, which takes years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to be a regional center. So our regional center is New York City Transport Regional Center. They sponsor this project. They're in charge of compliance, auditing, fund administration, and checks and balances, right? For compliance. That's a regional center job. And so a regional center sponsors and what is called Nutri's 3, that is the Nutrius Auto Center EB-5 Fund 3. That is a new commercial enterprise, and it's run by this manager, which itself is a company called Nutrius Manager 3 LLC. Okay, so this manager runs that. Think of general partner and limited partners in a real estate fund or something. This is GP, the general partner, the manager, and you all investors would be limited partners, kind of coming into the EB-5 investors will come into this fund. So technically this fund, you're joining that fund, right? You're putting your 800,000 part of this. So that's new commercial enterprise. By the way, Mr. Mahavir Jain here is also the current NCE manager for this. So that's a liaison. So he manages this fund. And this money is now loaned into these two entities, JCE1, Job Creating Enterprise Entity 1, JCE2. JCE1, remember, is Market Cafe, Car Wash, or EV charging. JCE2 is Express Auto Care. So it goes, and by the way, we can choose investors going to this or this, right? 4 million actually is 5 investors, Raghu. 5 times 800,000, right, is 4 million. So 4 million, say, goes into this. 2 million goes into two investors, 1.6 million, total 5.6, right? Seven investors, 7 times 8 is 56. So $5.6 million, two investors can go into this, and we can decide who goes where. We don't have to decide now, by the way. We decide to take in the money, and job creation time, we can adjust. So it goes in because both are owned by same group, right? But owned by us, Real Chemi Cam Ventures Jamaica. That is the owner of this. That is how it's structured as EB-5 project. So this is the compliance structure, Raghu, and this is how it's supposed to be.
Okay, got it. The audience, if you have any questions, please go to the Q&A option on Zoom and type in your questions. Either Chuck or Mahavir will be able to give answers to your questions here. Let me go to the next one. Okay, so use of funds. What are we looking at here in the screen?
Okay, so we need to show how we are going to use the funds, right, in the business plan. That is the basis of the approval. Okay, how are these funds going to be used? The funds we are asking from EB-5 investors. And here is an important difference, Raghu. I want everyone to know. We are showing this confidential information. Generally, in EB-5 presentations, you won't find this, right? But we're okay with that because it's going to be in your prospectus, right? PPM. So this use of funds is going towards, in our case, we already have put in this money, right? Remember, we already raised from the ownership and as preferred debt as a bridge capital, meaning temporary loan at a very high interest rate. We raise this money and we spend this money into the project already. So this is not a future use of the money. This is the money already used and spent. Our EB-5 investors' money that we are going to bring in is going to replace that capital that we already spent as a bridge capital in our capital stack. So if you see, 5 million and 93,753 dollars has been spent in JCE1, and we're asking for, remember, 5 investors, 4 million you saw on the other slide for JCE1. So, and this is JCE2. 2.6 million has already been spent. We're asking for 1.6 million. So we will still keep the other things as the preferred debt, the 1 million here. And previously, Raghu, if you go back to the previous slide, the 1 million here, we'll keep it totally about 2 million. So remember, we spent 7.5 million. We are raising 5.6 million from EB-5 investors. So that roughly leaves around 2 million, I said, shortage, which will keep as debt on the books. From our preferred debt we already raised. So these funds are utilized like this. And now this is a pro forma. Now watch this, the revenue. This is a project with exceptionally good revenue. Conservatively, by the way, this is extremely ultra conservative view. We believe this project actually can have a killer revenue much more than this. Why? Because of all the strategic advantages. 3 businesses, 4 businesses under one roof. So if you see JCE1, that itself has $4.8 million first year revenue. And we did not show much growth. We very conservatively estimated growth, right? Year to year, year on year growth. But imagine that, extremely conservative, even the first year, right? $4.8 million. And then the cost of goods is 1.4 million. And there are other expenses. Go to the next slide, Raghu. Slide 2 on 2 for JCE1. And that comes to 2.6 million of expenses. So that brings, if you add the expenses, cost of goods, and everything, that brings roughly $800,000 as net operating income in the year 1, right? And so very conservative estimate. Even the NOI percentage numbers are pretty conservative. Revenue to NOI, right? That's 16%. And you see year 2. So if you go to JCE2, remember we have 2 entities. JCE2, next slide, Raghu. So $4.8 million revenues there. And look at this, Raghu. Yeah, the revenue here is $1.9 million. So 4.8 and 2, 6.8, 1.9, 6.7. So $6.7, $6.8 million total revenue in this project, which is a killer revenue. And the net operating income here is 427,000. And you add the 800,000 there and 427. So 1.2 million is the net operating profit in this. But the revenue is $6.8 million, 4.8 plus roughly 2 million, right? Between 2 entities. So 6.8 million. Imagine the job creation strength of this project which is based on top line, which is the revenue. Bottom line, the net operating income, conservatively put in, is this. So this project is stellar in revenue, stellar in net operating income, and usually people ask, okay, how do I get my money back from your project? Raghu, you want me to go through that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What's
So
the return? When does the investor get the capital back?
yes, and Raghu, we can get off this slide. So the capital coming back. Remember, I said expect 5 to 7 years because it is a process. You have to completely hold the money in the project until you finish the removal of conditions on your temporary green card. End of the process. So at the end of the process, you're going to get back your capital, 800,000, and plus the interest, 1.5% a year, annual simple interest. And then that makes it, say, 5 years. 1.5% interest on 800,000 is $12,000 a year. $12,000 a year times 5 years is $60,000 a year. Let's say it's a 5 year process. That's $860,000 returned to you. Your principal amount plus the interest. 7 years, you add another $24,000, right? In interest, if it's a 7 year. So what is that? $884,000 you'll get back at the end of 7 years if it's a 7 year process. So
Okay.
expect anywhere between 5 to 7 years. So Raghu, that is how people get back. Now, how can we guarantee that you get your money back? Remember,
What's the exit strategy? How
yes.
are they getting paid?
So first of all, by law, your capital is at risk. So guarantee is not a good word to use there. Okay. So because your capital has to be at risk means there is no guarantee. At risk and guarantee are opposite terms. So no one in EB-5 can say guarantee. If they do, by the way, there is a danger of you not getting your green card approved or rescinded. Okay, just to let you know. So please don't fall for anybody saying in marketing there's a guarantee, right? So because your capital should be at risk technically and legally. So while saying that, however, you need to assess the project strengths. So how do we get the money back? First of all, this is exemplar project in terms of revenues and net operating income. Means say there are 2 3 paths for giving the money back. One is we sell this unit while we might keep other units. So generally speaking, such units sell for many multiples, okay, of revenue or net operating income. Let's say we sell this unit for 15 million or 20 million. Okay, obviously 5.6 million to return is piece of cake, isn't it? Okay, because generally that is what the multipliers would show given proper revenues and proper net operating income. That's one path.
Okay.
Second path is we don't sell it because we are this much valued and we're an operating business. We can easily take a bank loan, which we don't have right now. This project does not have bank loan. When bank loan is there, bank takes the first priority in getting the money back, not you, the EB-5 investor. In our case, you are the highest priority because by the time your money comes in, we replace the preferred debt, which is now at the high priority. That means you are the highest priority. But let's say we take a bank loan and to replace your debt and we pay you back, right? And third is actually paying you from the operating profits of this business, which is pretty good by the time. So the three distinct paths for exit strategy, meaning how do you get your funds back? Is there a reasonably good chance and very high chance of a project giving your money back? If there is a project that gives your money back, I would argue, knowing lots of businesses, this would be it. Okay.
Okay. We got a question. Are there any loan options unsecured as advertised by many other EB-5 projects up to 300K?
No, Raghu, and who is this that asked this question? Mohit Verma, Mohit. No, and by the way, be cautious of the unsecured loans that the EB-5 projects themselves are giving. Think about it. That is a kind of incestuous. Okay, technically they will usually have probably a legal entity that's separate, but there is a case 2 years ago. Okay, based on that, it's not a good idea, generally speaking, for the project themselves to say, hey, we'll give you an unsecured loan or we can arrange for one, then which means that they're giving you money to put the money back into the project. Why can't they take that loan money into the project directly? That doesn't make sense, right? A project says, "Oh, we can arrange for a loan. There's somebody willing to give $300,000 or whatever amount of money. Why can't that somebody give directly to the project? Why should they give to EB-5 investor? EB-5 investor gives to the project. It doesn't make any sense. So generally speaking, USAI's investor program office would be pretty diligent about these things. And knowing certain legal issues that have come in the past related to this, you can check on it, by the way. Okay. There is a case 2 years ago. It's not a good idea. So, Mohit, while it might be technically feasible if they show their nose all around like this, right, to get a separation, it's not a good idea, Mohit, for a project advertiser. They'll give unsecured loans.
Okay. And this is the legal team. Chuck, could you tell
Yes.
briefly about who they are?
Sure. Our legal team is Monasha and Associates. We have known them for many, many years. I have known them for past 7, 8 years. And they are our project documentation team too, meaning they are the ones who prepared a project document. Now, you are free to choose a attorney team for you as an investor. And we would be happy to oblige that. Our recommendation, though, would be to go to Monash and Associates. Why is that? Because they are the project attorneys. They know inside out of the extensive documentation they have prepared for our 956F, and also it's very fast from them to get to themselves to prepare the investor I-526 petition, because there is a familiarity, not just familiarity, extensive understanding of our project.
Okay.
However, having said that, you can go with someone, but this is what we recommend. So they're extremely good, and we would recommend Monasha and Associates.
Okay. And how would potential investors get in touch with you?
Yes, multiple ways. And please make a note of this, take a picture of this. This WhatsApp number, unlike many projects, which have very good teams like us, extensive enterprise scale institutional teams, they won't be reachable to you. Usually you'll be dealing with some employees. Okay. In our case, we have a commitment. We have 2 board members here on this call. Okay. And we have Yukti herself here on this call, who is helping smoothen this process, being responsive and everything. But this number belongs to Mahavir Jain. That's his personal number, mobile number. Thanks, Mahavir, for giving out this number publicly. And you can reach on WhatsApp, or text to this number. This is Mahavir Jain's number. Or you can send an email to eb5nutrias.com. It comes to all our board. Or yukti.jain@growthaccel.com. That is Yukti, who is on this call now. Or mahavir.jain@growthaccel.com. You know what? Do everything. Send a text, send an email. What do you lose, right, by putting 3 email addresses? So this is the way to reach us. Please take a picture of this. At this moment, Raghu, can I bring in Mahavir Jain and Yukti? Because I want people to also hear about their first point of contact, Mr. Jain.
Sure.
I just want to introduce him. Mahavir is one of our board members, and it's a pleasure to work with him, a person of very high integrity, vast experience in financial performance. And thank you, Mahavir, for your help, not just in this project, but for your extensive experience in the financial performance and the related fields. So I appreciate you being on this call as a board member. I know it might be an overkill to have 2 board members here, but glad to have you. So if you want to say something, say hello to the team, to everyone here. That'll be great, Mahavir. Over to you.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. And thank you, Raghu, again, as Chuck called out at the beginning of the presentation. So as I think Chuck has kind of pretty much covered my background. So I've been in the industry for the last 25 years. I've done multiple things, started my journey with tech. While I was in the tech, I also started my journey in some non-tech businesses, including real estate, self-storages, industrial warehouses, I mean, you name it, right? And that's what Chuck was saying. Together between like 4 of us, we have a vast experience in terms of finding the right projects, executing on the projects, exiting the projects. So that way, I think I would call it that you're in the safe hands as far as the team is concerned. And my role in this project is, as Chuck called out, I'm basically responsible for overseeing overall finances for these projects, working with you, of course, whenever you would say show an interest. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take your calls. In addition to that, I'm also managing our investor relationships, because as Chuck called out, while we put in bulk of the money from our side, we do have some outside investors, mostly from our friends and families. So I just have to make sure that they've been kind of updated on the progress. So that's my brief responsibility. And of course, the other thing which I've been recently added to my portfolio is how can we find some growth levers for these businesses? So I'll be strategically involved in finding out opportunities in terms of how we can grow this or scale this business. So that's about me. Over to you, Chuck.
Thank you so much, Mahavir. And just want to reiterate the board that we have, the four principles that you saw on the board members, myself, Mahavir, KK, and Upen Varanasi. Between all of us, we have $1 billion plus in exits. Okay, so this is not a green team. This is a team with extensive experience in exits, in institutional capital and exits. So that's one. Second is extensive entrepreneurial experience between all of us, 25 years plus for everyone, each of us, and cumulatively hundreds of years of experience in enterprise scale projects. So generally speaking, this kind of maturity of operational team, management excellence, integrity, institutional grade investor team is not found. If it is found, by the way, other places in EB-5, they will not talk to you. But we have made a strategic decision and a conscious decision that, just like how we treat our regular investors, we will treat the EB-5 investors. We, the board members, will be accessible to them. That is the biggest advantage you have in this project. Not only having a very highly functional team that has seen $1 billion plus exits, vast experience, and a lot of respect and credibility in the marketplace as institutional grade enterprise scale teams running these kind of teams in other businesses, having a large portfolio of other businesses that we manage. You have access to us and you have the integrity of the team that you can bank on. These are the biggest management advantages to this. And thank you, Mahavir. And also at this time, I would like Yukti Jain to say a quick hello. Yukti has been brought in as a specialist to help Mahavir and myself and entire team in investor relations and everything else related to EB-5. So you'll be hearing quite a bit from her. She is a very capable young lady and we're very proud to have her. Yukti, you want to say a quick hello?
Thank you, Chuck, and thank you, Veer. Yes, hello, everyone. So I've been working with the team with quite some time now. And honestly, I see that, there's so much potential here. I understand that there may be questions and, there may be queries that you might have. But rest assured that everything that you want to understand about the project and about how your journey can begin, we are the solution. You can always reach out to us. Nutrius is a great project, and beginning your EB-5 journey, this is a really good place to begin. So looking forward to hearing from you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yukti. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Yukti and Mahavir. Chuck, I think there is another question that just popped up from Mohammed. The first question is, would the lawyers have option where they evaluate the source of fund strategy just to make sure our funds will qualify? If so, how much would they charge?
Yes, a great question, Mohit. And yes, definitely your lawyers can get a sense. In fact, we ourselves, while we are not attorneys, okay, when you talk to us, Mohit, you'll get a good sense from us, right? Because we have some experience, good experience in EB-5. So, but I always tell people, don't take my word because I'm not an attorney, because, ultimately it has to be your attorney that's giving you that. So we will give you the first screen for sure, even though we prefer not to be involved in the source of funds just because it's an attorney thing, right? So, but when you have your attorney come in, they will definitely give you a very good idea. Hey, this will pass or not pass, right? So, but we can help, and the attorney team will definitely give you some insights into that when you talk to them in the first conversation, in our intro conversation. Even Monash and Associates, if you choose them to go with them, we'll provide introduction and you can speak to them too.
Okay. Second question is, does the 5-year clock for getting US citizenship start from the day the conditional green card is approved or when the conditions are removed?
Yeah, my guess is when conditions are removed, okay? Because when it brings a full-fledged green card. So, right, Raghu? That's your understanding too.
Yep.
Don't count the 2 years in the conditional time, because a full-fledged green card with no conditions is the starting point of your citizenship application.
No. So the clock for applying for citizenship starts when the conditional green card is approved. So then even the condition will be removed after 2 years, but your clock has already started when the conditional green card is approved, which means by the time the conditions are removed, let's say it takes 2 years to wait, 2 years the conditional, and removing conditions takes two years. So that's 4 years. So you are well 4 years into your the green card waiting time of what? 4 years and 9 months window. Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
So
Raghu, for
confirm
the
that with your
correction.
attorney as well, Mohammed.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was taking a more conservative approach. By the way, it has nothing to do with your money in the project, your N400, right? Because that is green card related. Okay, so that's not the reason I'm saying, your clock starts afterwards because no relationship to us because you got your money back already. But please check with the attorney team and probably Raghu, you might be right that the clock starts with the conditional green card issuance, right? Your LPR issued conditionally, but I said it'll start after the conditions are removed. So I might be wrong there, and Raghu might be right, but check with your attorney, Mohit.
It's a good question, though, Mohit. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone today is concerned about N400. Hey, when is the fastest I can apply for citizenship, right? N400. Yeah, that's a citizenship application.
so quick Google search.
Okay.
EB-5 citizenship clock begins the day your 2-year conditional permanent residency is issued.
Raghu, you're right. I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah.
So that is what Gemini is telling us. All
Okay.
right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Singh, that is all the questions that we have, and we'll be definitely hosting another webinar in 2 weeks' time from now.
Yes.
If you have any follow-up questions, please do reach out to us, or not us, reach out to Mahavir, and let me share the
The
contact
contact again?
info one more time
Yeah.
before we wrap up today's session.
Raghu, while you're doing that, if it's okay with you, I just want to quickly summarize the points, okay?
Sure.
One is we are an operational business, not a hole in the ground, not a future business plan. Our business plan is currently executionable, meaning we can execute in 2 weeks when you open doors. We are waiting for certificate of occupancy, by the way. We are done with all the permits, done. And the final inspection by our general contractor and finish the certificate of occupancy. We are ready. Our staff is ready. The chefs, everyone is ready. In fact, I've tasted the great food there. Mahavir is going to be next week. If any of you are in New York, by the way, we would highly encourage you to come down. When you see this place, you'll be zapped. When you see such a in New York, in Queens, in Jamaica, New York, and it is absolutely. And we put in total of $10.5 million invested into this project, and most of it raised from our funds. Unlike many projects which are only 1 or 2% of principals funds are in EB-5 in the project. In our case, yeah, 50 to 70%, okay, is our money into this. That is significant skin in the game, right? It's not just collecting EB-5 people's money. We are seeking to replace that with EB-5 investor money. Why so? So that we can have major capital for expansion into other units too. So that's a real reason that we are seeking the EB-5 investor rollout of the bridge capital, right? The third and the final thing is you have a business that has exceedingly good revenue projections, even conservatively, great net operating income, right? Amazing value at exit with a clear-cut exit strategy. That means you getting your money back, right? And finally, with a management team that is vastly experienced, enterprise institutional grade, that has seen over $1 billion in exits between all of us, cumulatively, and that has extensive experience and integrity. And you are in touch with them directly as the board members, the management team, right? Which is kind of rare in EB-5 projects. And finally, Raghu, without all these things, you would not have us on your platform. And we know how selective you are. So we really appreciate you.
And check the last point. We don't want to create like a lot of panic on this call with the investors, but folks, I think last 3-4 webinars we've got a tremendous response, and I think we were just reviewing Jack and I in the morning. So we have interest more than the slots what we have kind of allocated. Of course,
7
they're going through the
slots.
process
Yes.
in terms of SOF and whatnot. So a request to you would be, I mean, of course, you do evaluate us deeply, make sure that you're comfortable, and don't wait. I would say beyond a point, because if you are interested in participating with us, at least reach out to us as soon as possible. Start asking questions, and we'll definitely put you in the process and see. Like eventually, whoever is going to get qualified to the process check, as you're saying, SOF is the first critical step, right? Which most of the investors have to go through. So just get started with that if once you're convinced that we are the right project for you. Okay.
Yes. And thank you, Veer, for mentioning that, because there is a sense of urgency in this, not created by us, mind you. And we are happy to entertain you, but we have only 7 slots in this project, and there's tremendous amount of interest coming into because of such a great team and the project viability and revenues here, and being an urban TEA
And of course, there is a pending regulation where September 30th, after that, there may not be another EB-5 program, or the investment amount can go up, or EB-5 could be replaced with the gold card. So we do not know, but there is also a expiration date for the EB-5 law.
And Raghu, everyone till September 30th is grandfathered into this current EB-5 program. So source of funds generally takes a couple of weeks at the fastest. So get in touch with us. At least let us give you our preliminary take on viability and your qualification as a candidate for investing with us, because we want to definitely pre-check and pre-screen people who are coming in, and then you can get started and do the needful.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Please reach out to Growth Axle team. You have Chuck, the number shared will go to Mahavir, or you can send them an email. We will see you all again in 2 weeks' time for another session. Thank you all again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Raghu. Bye, everyone.